This video is for you if you are ready to activate your spiritual gifts in 2026. If you didn't already, my name is Hope. I'm a hypnotist and I use the power of breath and sound to help people exit the loop of self sabotage and activate and return to their authentic frequency. I have been procrastinating YouTube for literally 2 years and I am so tired of myself. So, we're going to be kind of going through things really off the cuff. And I really want to start kind of coming out of the spiritual closet and sharing the amazing things that I've activated within myself and other clients using the power of hypnosis. And what do I mean by activating spiritual gifts? First and foremost, I truly believe that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I also fundamentally believe that we are living in a matrix. All that being said, if you know me well, or if you talk to my closest people, they will tell you that I am the perfect example of someone who has a foot in both worlds. I love to talk about esoteric concepts. I love to get real weird with it, but I also love to remain and regularly feel grounded and embodied. And I think it's super important in your spiritual and personal development journey to always have an anchor and, stay locked into this reality for the most part. So, back to the concept and main purpose of this video is all about activating your spiritual gifts. What I mean by that is, first and foremost, these could be things like intuition. This could be things like your clairvoyance, your clairsentience, clairaudience. This could even be activating and understanding, you know, dreams that are premonitions, or even feeling into past lives. The list is really endless. And before we get into kind of some examples of what some of my clients and myself have experienced in that regard, I want to talk about what you need to do first before you get to all that cool shit. So, if you follow me and my work, you'll know that regularly what I talk about is clearing out the noise. From the ages of probably 0 to 6 years old, your brain is in the theta brainwave state. This is the same brainwave state that I help my clients get into when using hypnosis. And what that means is it is the state in your brainwaves that you are the most susceptible to suggestion, instruction, and, reframing, rework, any of those things. So, from ages 0 to about 6 years old, you are naturally in a theta brainwave state. This is the same brainwave state that I use to help my clients get into when doing all things hypnosis. And that's because it is the most powerful brainwave state for accepting suggestions. So when you are from 0 to 6, you are a sponge. You are walking around the world with your family, your friends, outside your environment. Everything that you are taking in is programming your subconscious mind. Super cool, also kind of scary, because if there's not a lot of intentionality around that with your parenting or your environment, it can develop patterns and behaviors that are actually not really helpful. Why does this even matter? Your subconscious mind actually runs and is responsible for 95% of your behavior that you see in your life today. So, that is exactly why that prime age from 0 to 6, maybe even 8, is so important for learning behaviors, patterns, and just having really good, really positive reinforcement. So, what happens when you're like most of society and you weren't really given a lot of positive suggestions? You were around environments that actually were giving you really unhelpful suggestions and unhelpful examples regarding any topic. And then you go on through your life, and no matter how conscious you are of your behavior, there's certain things you can't seem to hack. And that is, my friends, because it is a program within your subconscious mind, for the most part, most likely. So that brings me back to, what do we do to lay the foundation for you being able to activate your spiritual gifts? Step one is clearing the noise. I always recommend my clients, when they come to me, to have a list of things, of behaviors, almost like an audit of what is actually going on in their life that they can't seem to hack. So maybe that's you're constantly procrastinating. Maybe that's you constantly have negative self talk, no matter how much therapy, personal development. There's so many things that just continue looping, and you can't seem to exit that. Maybe it's weight loss. Maybe it's the common example for hypnosis clients is smoking. Things of that nature where you know it's bad or it's not helpful for you, but for some reason you just can't stop. And once you have a kind of a clear idea of that, and again, this is almost like an audit of your life, audit of yourself. Why do I keep attracting the same relationships that aren't helpful? Why do I keep doing XYZ knowing it's not helpful? Without judgment, just take stock, audit it, take a look at everything. And from that, go to the next category, which is your beliefs. Have you actually taken a moment to ask yourself if the beliefs that you have about yourself are actually from you, or were they given to you by someone else unknowingly? Maybe family members, maybe environments, maybe you had experiences where you're bullied by idiotic kids at a very young age. Whatever it is, take a moment to be really honest with yourself what you believe about yourself to be true. For me, when I first started this journey like 10 years ago, I had a horrible self image. No matter how much success, no matter how many great grades I got, no matter how good I was at soccer or the sports or whatever it was, I really hated myself. I had such a low self esteem. My inner voice was unbelievably critical of every single thing that I did, and it was never enough. And once I started to really get into therapy and being conscious of just myself, I audited these voices and this, you know, like why, like who told me that I wasn't enough? Where did this all come from? And a lot of it actually stemmed from unconscious behaviors of my parents. I had a couple of really bad examples of family members around me, and even just seeing like family members the way they talk to themselves, realizing, oh my God, like that inner voice that's so critical is actually not me. That's my dad, or that's my cousin, or that's the way that my aunts and the women in my family talk to themselves. That is not me. So taking a moment, identifying maybe the root of where that came from and how that program began to kind of infiltrate your life. Just take time with this, take a notice of it, and then we begin the next step, which is all about purging those belief systems and giving and replacing positive ones. So, this is where a lot of my amazing work comes in, and I have a few really great freebies that can kind of get you started in self hypnosis and also in this auditing process. But the best thing that you can do to lay the foundation for you to begin activating your truest self, or what I always refer to as your authentic frequency, is actually taking time to do this, what some people call shadow work. Honestly, I just call it like a big ass life and belief system audit. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's just taking stock of the words you use, of the way you're thinking, understanding what is my lens on reality. And once you have a really good understanding of that, don't be harsh on yourself, don't be overly critical, just take note of it. And then, like I said, that purification process, write down how you want to feel. Similar to like a vision board, if you're more graphic, or photographic memory, or you're more visual, make a Pinterest board of things that you like, people doing the things that you want to do, experiences you want to have. How do you want to feel? This is so important, because once you understand all that noise and all the crap and what you don't want to feel, it's very important to begin replacing that with how you want to feel. Who do you want to become? Once we clear all of that out, what's next? most people, most of my one-on-one clients never are asked that question, and they usually don't even know what to say. So it's very important that you take the time to get super dialed in to who you want to be, how you want to be, and how you want to feel, because this is exactly in your control. And we're going to use the power of hypnosis to reinforce this new beautiful identity that you are choosing, the new belief systems that you are installing in yourself. That is how powerful you are. Hypnosis, breathwork, and sound healing are my three favorite tools to make these shifts happen really fast. I've used them on myself for over 10 years. I use them in one-on-one sessions with clients, and I also have a group program called Become, which is a 6-week process of group hypnosis where we go through this entire process of shedding your identity and creating the new one. So, all that being said, start with these 3 phases, and then in my next video, I'm going to talk about some of the cool, kind of weird, a little out there things that I have activated myself through this, really, I call it like a frequency purification process, and what I am able to tap into now that I have this just massively authentic, frequency. It's not from an ego place. It's really just like I finally have, over these last 10 years, I know what is my true energy. I feel totally grounded in it. And I am completely safe in allowing my power and my energy and my gifts to be seen. So if any of that resonates with you, please subscribe to my channel and leave a comment below if any of this resonates with you. And check out this next video, which is going to be about examples my clients have activated spiritual gift wise, some really odd, unusual things that I've been able to activate within myself over the last 5 to 10 years, and what you can do to begin activating this amazing gifts, or even discovering what those gifts are within you in this next video.